Well, hello. I am your Uncle Ringo, and with me I have a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Kara Crab Burnham, and I am the Undersecretary of Mobilization with the Labor Party here in the U.S.
Nice. Glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
We just had a conversation about my cat that popped up here, and I want you to know there are four other cats in this house, so they will probably pop up somewhere in here sooner or later.
You've got 4 cats. I've got 2 cats, 2 dogs, and 8 chickens, and 2
Nice.
boys.
So we have 5 cats, 2 dogs, one son. Technically, if you ask my wife, she's got 2 of them because she's married to me, and I'm a child. So
Oh, I store old men too. I've got my husband, and I've got an extra old man I keep in the attic for good luck.
nice.
Long story short, we have a friend that lives with us in a suite on our 3rd floor. But yeah, I'm the only lady in the household. Just me. There's a lot of. Did you wash your hands with soap?
We went through that with my son. He's my not stepson. He's my wife's kid. My son through marriage, and he has been a problem with washing his hands.
I like it. They don't like to do it.
I
Yep. I send them back. Did you wash your hands with soap? No, I don't mean this.
don't just turn on the faucet like as
Yeah,
if I don't know.
I can tell. I was give me your hands. Let me smell them. Better smell
hmm
like soap.
hmm
That bathroom's got the lemon verbena. I know what I'm looking for.
Kids are fun. They always come up with something new every single time. That you're like, why this? Why this?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten some kind of like questions that I was like, how do you not know that? It's like, all right, he's 5. He doesn't know things yet. Okay.
and and that's fair.
You forget that
Uh,
you had to learn stuff. You had to learn how to use a spoon. Like
mm-hmm.
when COVID hit, it was time to start learning how to write our alphabet.
Oh,
I was never meant to be an early childhood educator. My background is in adult education, workforce training and development, stuff like that. I
yeah,
don't. What do you mean you can't write an E? It's 4 lines. They're all straight. Like they're. This isn't complicated. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like be done with this. And my poor son. I traumatized. I didn't mean to. Not like on purpose.
yeah.
I, I was just like, it's now my job to teach you the letters, and I took it a little too seriously.
it if it makes you feel any better, my wife and I had conversations about like how she struggled teaching the kid before I came in, and I can tell you, when I met him, he was 6. He's 15 now. But when he was 6, he didn't want to go ahead and learn English. He's like, "Oh, I can speak my own language," and he would just say things, and you're like, "I don't know anything that you just said there." So I spent the first year working with him. One of the first things I ever did, we were driving to go have dinner. It was a date, and he's like, "Where are we going?" And he did that every time that we hopped in the car. He's like, "Where are we going? Tell me where we're going. Tell me where we're going." And I was like, "Okay, you want to know where we're going? Spell it. If you can spell it, I will tell you where we're going." He's like, I'm not doing that. Tell me where we're going. I was like, if you spell it, I will tell you. And he's like, I'm not doing it. So I was like, okay, fine. We're going to go to the location. You're just going to find out when we get there. Fine. IT. I was like, no. I gave you your options. I gave you your opportunity and you squandered it. So now you just get to wait. After that, I would ask him to spell a word and he would spell it. And I was like, see, you're smart. You know how to do this.
And consistency with children. Consistency with humans is good.
Yes.
Humans, adults, definitely. Children, all ages, the elderly. Everyone seems to do a lot better with consistency.
Agreed.
Follow through, and when your relations are always better with people who say and do what they're gonna say, what they said they're gonna do. Who do and say everything in line. Yes, that is.
Yep.
That does make for better relationships of any age. So I totally get that.
and kind of funny enough, I feel like that kind of ties into something that you and I are planning on talking about in this. Um, we have someone that's breaking like the normalcy of our country and trying to establish a dictatorship or a kingship, if you will. I know that when I talked to Mordred, it was kind of funny because we've remembered that back in February, I think he posted a picture of himself with a crown.
Mhm. He
But
who shall not
yeah.
be named. Um, he is a symptom. He is a symptom of a much larger problem and a
Yes.
series of larger problems and systemic breakdowns in the United States. He is an issue. I won't argue that it's not an issue. He who shall not be named, but but he's really just a symptom of 50-ish years of really neglecting human Americans
Right?
or business Americans. If corporations are people, the country neglected real humans, like real
Mm-hmm.
estate, like real humans, for corporate humans, corporations that are
Yep.
personhoods, and it's and this is what you get. If you slowly allow education to erode, this is what you get. When you slowly allow services to erode, this is what you get. When
Yep.
you don't protect people's food and brains and bodies and water and air, and you don't prioritize these things over profit, this is what you get. You get a just a series of generations that see the benefits of profit and financial stability above their own creativity. And
Yeah.
it's a sad space that we've gotten to. I mean, it is correctable. It's not correctable within the systems that we've been provided. I don't know if you know this, but I got irritated one day arguing with my mother. My mother is a Democrat and she loves being a Democrat. And that's good for her. It's better than some other options. Myself, I'm a reformed libertarian. So we all come from somewhere, right? And so we're arguing, and she said, the big bad Cheeto, and he's gonna get us. And I said, Mom, like it's bigger than this. The Democrats are gonna save it. And I was like, Mom, that's just they've had more control over the last 50 years than another party and than any other party. So how the policies continue to move right? That's not true. So ha ha. So ha 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 ha. I went ahead and Googled the research. And it turns out in the last 22 houses of representatives, we've had about 340 more Democrats over than Republicans over those 22
Mm-hmm.
houses, and we've had 37 more senators from the Democratic Party over 22 Congresses. So, with more Democrats in time and more control over a longer period of time, how have policies moved further and further to the right consistently?
Yeah.
Europe has healthcare. We all started after World War or after the separation, really, Europe really focused on their people. Like when America, the new world became America, we went in
Yeah.
very different directions. And Europe really focused on the humans of Europe and the lifestyle of Europe, whereas the United States really focused on like building an image, building a reputation. And that reputation was power, ownership,
Mm-hmm.
entitlement,
Mm-hmm.
and it has not served this mentality has not served the people of the United States of America, and it's
No.
sad that so many things have led to this downfall.
And it's kind of interesting because it kind of like what you said there. I have a similar conversation with my brother, and I actually pulled it up here. But after the mayor was arrested, I don't remember what the mayor's name was, but the mayor that was arrested recently, I talked about how, maybe we should start worrying because if they're willing to go ahead and arrest mayors for going ahead and checking on buildings that are being converted into ICE facilities, you should realize that they're willing to go ahead and do this to anybody. And his response was, Sorry, brother, you can speak your mind all you want, but once you step onto private property and start forcing your way into a building that is considered assault, they were asked to leave. They had done what was done in the past and set up time to go in instead of thinking you're God Almighty and trying to cause a scene and force your way in. It would be different. And I know that's like word salad, but that's what he wrote,
But isn't that what the Jan Sixers did?
right? And the difference between the
They did
Jan
ice
Sixers and
fishing.
right, right, and the difference between the Jan Sixers and and the mayor was the mayor gave them warning and didn't assault them. He
He
was
didn't bring
told to leave.
weapons.
Yeah, and he left when they asked him to leave, and they arrested him out in on public property. Oh, and to this one here was the one that has sat with me for as long as for like the 5 weeks that it's been in my inbox. Um, I know you don't agree with me, but I support Trump and I will never fall to the liberal Democrat side. It just doesn't line up with my beliefs. And I went, I never asked you to be a liberal Democrat.
I don't think there are liberal Democrats.
There
They're
aren't.
not liberal. They're
Yeah.
centrist.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party is so busy worrying about their likability that they're not worried about their efficacy.
Yes.
And people say liberal Democrat around me, and I say that's not a thing. It's not a thing. I'm clearly left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm clearly lefter than left. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
And I try to. One thing I like to talk about with people who are like, oh, so you're like a socialist, close, not quite. We can't be like that. And it's like, okay, look at if you think of like in a very bland way, if you think of this being, total socialism and this being like total authoritarianism, and you have like where groups of people sit on it, regardless of the country, right? You have this is actual center. You have all of American policy sort of over here, like all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, Europe, you look at a European, you have some over here too. And if you look at Chinese, even you've got like a better, like they have in China. Everyone's complaining about China. Oh, no freedom of speech. Well, guess what? They have healthcare. They have a controlled housing market. They have reasonably priced groceries. They have affordable cars. They don't.
If
They
my
can't rail on about people they don't like online. But you can't do
yeah.
that in Europe either. You can't go on
Yeah.
on Facebook in Germany and write, "I hate this person. They suck." You get arrested for that. You at least get a fine. Like,
Yeah.
I love freedom of speech in concept. There are some practical application issues that lead to like Nazis.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, maybe I don't know. I don't know. I think that I almost think, and I've been reading and seeing a lot more about this lately, but is freedom of speech this idea that in the United States you can say whatever you want to whoever you want, whenever you want, with no consequences? Is this really beneficial for us? I don't know that the founding fathers who, loaded their guns one bullet at a time were really thinking about what it would be like to be able to say anything on the top of your head and have it reach millions of people around the world in an instant. They weren't, I don't know. I don't want to get too crazy since we're recording this. But, there's some things that are like, maybe this needs to be revisited. Maybe the whole Constitution needs to be revisited in a different light, in a modern light. Maybe we should have a constitutional Congress. Maybe the Republicans shouldn't run it, but maybe we should have a constitutional Congress and talk about it.
And I can agree with you on that one. I think that like trying to go ahead and live off of the traditions of our past kind of hamstrings us in this moment, and we're watching it right now because like a section of America is trying to live in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We are allowing the fascist dictator to go ahead and take over and push us forward in a way that we don't want to go. And it's removing the rights and benefits of the people that are stuck in the tradition of the past. And we are watching that happen in real time, and people aren't moving to change from that because, like you said with your mom, Democrats are going to save us. And you know what? The Democrats might end up in office if there's another election.
Mm-hmm.
They might, and they're not going to do jack.
Yeah. They're just going to try to hold the line. They're going to do their best to hold the line wherever Trump leaves it. And
Hmm.
I disagree with that methodology of management of government. I just don't agree with that way of
Yeah.
doing things. Period.
Well, like Neil and I talked about this, and he's like, the Overton window has shifted so far right that the left is no longer left. It is like center right
Yep.
at best.
100%.
At best.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the reason why, like, Kamala Harris, like, as much as I wanted her to win so we didn't have Trump, she was too far right for
Yeah.
me. And she was going to go ahead and do things that I didn't want to do. And we watched it with Biden. Biden, like, set her up to go ahead and do bad stuff. He was doing stuff that was good. Sure. He was removing, like, student debt and stuff like that. But he was also doing stuff that people weren't noticing. He was saying, hey, COVID's not a thing anymore. Go out, breathe air, go right up to someone and just breathe in their face and you'll be fine, whatever. And he
Know
didn't say
that
that.
anybody exactly said that, but
Yeah.
it did move from pandemic to endemic. It's
Yes.
like we had the Spanish flu. It's
And
now just the flu. You
yeah.
know,
And I want to be my humor
I'm not
comes.
about Biden. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I don't think he did. I think he did worse stuff than that. I think that funding Israel,
Yes,
in
was
my
bad.
opinion, is worse than moving pandemic to endemic.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that, like, I rallied against him on when he was in office. I was like, this man is actively taking my tax money, your tax money, our neighbor's tax money, and he's sending it to Israel so they can go ahead and eradicate people. And real quick, I want people to know I do exaggerate a lot. It's part of my
Hyperbole.
I get a yeah, hyperbole. I get a kick out of hyperbole. I got to be very clear with that. No one ever said go breathe in someone's face, but I just remember that, like, Biden was like, the pandemic is over, and that annoyed me. I know that feeling right there. I've got my dog came into the room and she ooh, kitty.
He's one of my babies.
That's a cute kitty.
Yes, she's tiny. Both of my cats are from St. Thomas, an island in
Nice.
the Caribbean. Yeah.
Hey.
My husband and I went on our honeymoon and we came back with a cat. And then the next year we took the entire family and we came back with a cat. So we're sort of not allowed to go to the Caribbean anymore because we just cats.
That's fair. My wife is not allowed to go to rescues or pounds because we will end up having another animal in the house.
I feel that. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
She just
you're
wanted
fine.
some screen time.
I have no issue with that.
But it's true. There's not a clear message from any of, or I should say, any of the bigger, more established parties to move the needle significantly in a way that supports the individual real life humans in this country. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what like okay, so Salesforce is laying off. Can we just talk about the like
Yeah.
4% unemployment out there right now? Like, it's just not real. Like, I didn't say, can I do? You could like blur out my mouth if you have to, but
Oh no, you are free if you
I'm
want to
allowed to
go ahead and
curse.
yeah.
You know, my
Yes.
sailor side coming out.
I don't have an
He's
issue with it.
inappropriate.
I was Army, so it's gonna slip out sooner or later.
I'm doing my best. But like the unemployment is not real. Like the 4% unemployment is just not the real number. The amount of
Yeah.
people that have fallen off of unemployment or small businesses like mine that stopped crushing it recently, like not being counted as unemployed. People moving from $100,000 tech salary that they still have $80,000 in student loans to pay on, driving for Uber, Lyft, and Peapod. That's not the same. That's not the
Yeah.
same. That person was told by society, by Bill Clinton, by the United States, by our boomer parents, you need to go get your college degree. So long as you show that you have the fortitude to get through 4 years of university, any job is available to you, any job in the world. And little by little by little, that was totally eroded from that belief that the
Mm-hmm.
boomers who went to college left college with, that belief, is not true anymore. It's not true. And yet we still are pushing people to go into colleges and universities instead of trade schools, because
Yep.
trade schools are looked down on. But my plumber is asking me for $115 an hour. My plumber, the plumbing company says, well, we're going to come by and look at it, just to look at the first $150. Then we'll let you know what the problem is. And if, we can fix it, we'll deduct some of that $150 towards the cost of fixing it for another $600. And it's like, oh, that person just made $800 today in like 4 hours at my house.
Right.
And why are we telling people that you need to go to college to get, okay, listen, I went to school for fashion design for 3 years before I realized the error of my 18-year-old ways. What the heck am I going to do with a fashion design degree? Who gives an 18-year-old the permission to borrow $60,000 for a fashion design degree? What government is saying, yes, we're going to insure that loan for you? Like,
Right.
it was a setup. It was
It
a
was.
setup for our entire generation. So now we have
Yes.
all of these people with incredible student loans. The work pool of jobs for people with college degrees is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Salesforce, another layoff of 1,000 people because of AI. We've got all of the social media platforms laying off people because of AI. We've got Google laying off people for AI. We've got like a massive, and then we're losing the labor jobs to robots. We're losing the port jobs to robots. So I'm sorry. How many people are we going to force into poverty so that a handful of people can continue to be billionaires? It's not mathing for me. It's not mathing.
It's not, and we are watching as their riches are growing exponentially while ours are dying. We are watching our world die around us. We are watching our money go ahead and dry up like as if we're out in the Sahara, and we haven't moved to do anything because, like you said, we have been conditioned and trained and educated. Get an education, spend 60 to 100. In fact, actually, it's gone up a little bit more than 60. Last I checked, some people are paying like 150,000. They're getting loans for 150,000 to go ahead and get a college degree of 4 years, and they're not paying it back.
How
They
can
they
you?
pay
You
their
work at Starbucks, and there's nothing wrong with working at
yeah.
Starbucks, except for that Starbucks is kind of slave wages and treats people like terrible. But if that's the only job you can get, how are you?
Yeah.
Regardless,
Your emotions are perfect for this because you are really honestly, like, without saying it, you are expressing exactly how a lot of Americans are feeling. Because I had a conversation with someone else and they're like, burger flippers don't deserve a living wage. And I was like, burger flippers are
everyone,
me. They're everybody. They are people that are trying to go ahead and pay their college degree, and you can't pay a college degree on $7.25 an hour.
don't get college degrees though. Like, let's just slow down on the college degrees. I have
Yeah.
nothing against like being educated, but until college is free, until college is paid for by the state, until you are going like they go in Europe or they go in other countries where you
Yeah.
just go to university because it's good to be an educated population. Like, we need the government to stop backing college loans for art programs. I love the arts. I love the arts. My mom's an artist. I love the arts. I participate in the arts. My house is, you can't see it because all the art is this way, but my house is full of art. Like, but it is not the responsibility of the federal government to back loans for fashion design, for interior design, for underwater basket weaving, which is a liberal arts example of something that's not real. I get it, but you understand. Like, I appreciate that, but if that's your passion and you love it and you're willing to do the train, go get an apprenticeship. What?
Yeah.
Bring the apprenticeships back. Bring the internships back. Bring back means of building a career in something you love that doesn't require you to spend your entire life in debt.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing this to people?
And I completely agree with you. I worked with my brother. My brother had the the man I brought up earlier. He's an arborist. He had his own business. He has his own business, and I was the one that was running his crew. And I mean, we would charge people $1,000 a day to go ahead and do tree work. 1,000. It would be like Uh,
It's
I
a
think
lot
we would
cheaper than
charge.
out here.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
I'm on the East Coast, by the way. I'm outside of Boston, and I had some trees. I have 3 trees removed, and it was like 3,700. So
Well, so for removal, like especially like if you wanted like the stump ground down, you're looking at
yeah,
$5,000 to $8,000
I left
because we
these
were out.
stumps.
Yeah, we were out in New Mexico, and that's what we used to do out there. The only downside to doing trade work is your body is going to suffer for it.
Yep.
But I mean, realistically, if you can do the trade work, you won't be a slave wage.
Yep.
You won't live underneath a slave wage for the next 75 years until your body gives out and then you're in hospice.
Yep.
It might be better that way.
We are humans. We are
Yeah.
humans. We are physical, corporeal forms. We are meat suits with some zizzle. Like this is it. Like, why is it that we wake up every day to go to work for a job that doesn't pay us enough to pay off student loans that didn't get us anywhere, so that we can have just enough time to rush home, make a quick dinner of chicken nuggets and broccoli so we can feed our kids, but we drag them off to the baseball practice so that they can spend time with their coach and their friends, so that we can drag them back here so that they can continue to do their homework for another hour before we have to send them to bed. Every day, day
Yep.
after day. We don't see our kids. We don't engage. We are scared to take vacation time. We are scared to quit our jobs. We don't have jobs. We don't have health care. What happens if something goes wrong? I mean, they've got us in a system that isn't good for meat suits with zizzle.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like it's not healthy for us. And by zizzle, I guess the soul, if you would. Like, some people believe in that. So, like, whatever it is, that spark that makes us think and talk and use our little thumbs, then
Yeah.
like, what's the point of all of this? They've like created a system that just sucks to be in all the time. Even the weekend, it's not long enough. You're just thinking about the next thing. Now you can't have hobbies anymore. Hobbies became side hustles.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just enjoy. I just like knitting. It just makes me happy. Well, now you got to sell them so that you can afford to buy the needles, and the shenanigans for your next quilt, because you can't just have a hobby.
Exactly, and that's such a sad thing. That is such a sad thing. It's funny you say that, and I can feel it on every single day because I just graduated. I just got my English degree, and I'm like, I need to be looking for a job.
Yeah.
And when I'm not looking for a job, whatever it is I'm doing, I should be figuring out how to go ahead and monetize it. I've got a garden in the back. I play video games. I should be streaming that, making $1 off this, making $1 off that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mentality that we need to go ahead and get out of. But I think that this kind of ties into like the Labor Party and how we're trying to work to kind of get people to start getting into politics. And when people like you and I go ahead and come in with this mentality, if we can get our community to back people with this sort of progressive like movement, maybe we can start progressing towards not having that anxiety, that stress of like, well, I got to make $1, I got to make $1, I got to make $1, because if I don't, I'm gonna starve.
But it's so, the conversation is that conversation is slaves having that conversation with other slaves. It's a pointless conversation. Like, I appreciate that we're having it, like, because it's good for other people to hear it, to know that other people are saying it, but we're all just the slaves talking to each other. This conversation is irrelevant until the billionaires are sharing in the conversation. This is very similar to the feminist movement, where the feminist movement taught women that you can do it all. You can have 6 kids, clean your house, work full time, pay half the bills, and like, be beautiful, call your friends, get enough sleep, do the Botox, go for coffee, don't forget to check in on your neighbor. Like, we can do all of it. We cannot. But you know what it didn't teach? It did not teach men. You can clean the house. You can change a diaper. Like, millennial men are the first generation to like have relationships with their children in like a significant way as a whole. Like, not to say no boomers have relationships with their kids. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But there was like a separation there.
Yeah.
For every generation before. So like all of a sudden millennial men spend more time with their kids than any other generation, but they had to learn it from millennial women. They did not learn it from their fathers. We had
No.
it's Yeah, so this is the same thing that's happening again. And it's not, it needs to be a conversation that happens from both sides. It needs to be the conversation of what us as the slave cohort of the United States, and that is everyone who is not sitting on millions and millions of dollars. And even some places, you could live in the Bay Area and have millions of dollars and still be working every single day, knowing that it's all, one healthcare incident from falling apart. That's just not right. That some people get
Yeah.
to hold on to billions of dollars and they hide it in overseas trusts and overseas funds. They're not paying tax on it. And oh, well, you hear from a libertarian, well, they earned it. It's theirs. They can do what they want. Well, then, no, then you don't get to enjoy society. Then you don't
Yeah.
get to enjoy society. You're
Yeah.
a leper.
That's fair, honest. I agree with you on that one. And I do find it interesting how many people are just like, well, they earned it. And I'm like, earned it doing what? If you look at the world's richest man, he has done nothing in the last 110 days, 120 days. I don't know what we're at right now, but however long it is that we have had the new administration, he has done nothing. He
Well,
has
he's
gone
closed a lot
on.
of contracts for his businesses.
He has. He has. Very accurate. And you know what? I guess you could argue that he's earned his money by going ahead and closing a lot of contracts and stealing those for his companies. He's also gone online and proven that he can't play video games. He's gone online and watched as his own AI that he had created, goes, oh, Elon is a terrible father and a terrible human being and is causing a lot of problems. I don't remember what Grok's original words were, but Grok tore into Elon once, and I found that very funny that even the robots don't like this man.
He doesn't offer anything. He's not offering
He's not.
anything.
Yeah.
His parents owned emerald mines, and his mother said, well, he's not a racist. He was lovelyly behaved with our housekeepers and his nannies. Like, excuse me? Like, so he's respectful of the staff makes him not racist? No, I'm pretty sure the
Right.
fact that he's encouraging people to come into this country that are refugees with, a private jet and all of their suitcases that have never been vetted by the UN, vetted by international refugee groups, vetted or been into a refugee camp, lost their homes, had anything wrong in their life. That all of a sudden these are the refugees we're getting in, but you're standing behind him saying kick out the Mexicans and the
Right.
Guatemalans and the Venezuelans and the El Salvadorians. So that sounds like a racial issue to me.
And it really is. And we saw it on the presidential election day when he did, and I'm going to say this because people are going to argue one way or the other, Roman salute when we all
That was a
know what
Nazi
he
salute.
really
He
did.
did a Nazi
Yeah,
salute.
exactly.
He slammed on his chest and threw his hand in the air. That was a Nazi.
Yeah.
So I've seen them in videos of Nazis.
Yeah. No, because
And I lived in Rome for 3 years. So I've never seen anyone do that in Rome.
Well, and so when you actually dive into what the Roman salute actually is, it was a thing that was created for Hollywood in a movie back in like 1960 something
Was
or
it
something along
Spartacus
those
or
lines.
something?
Something along those lines, and they would like salute in a way that was similar, but it was not the Nazi salute. In fact, actually, what's funny about the Nazi salute, from my understanding, and if you know better than I do, I believe America actually influenced Germany in creating the Nazi salute before they ever actually started utilizing it. Don't hold me to that one. I remember
Not
reading
familiar.
something about that. It's weird. America's history is really kind of shady when you go far enough back. We have done a lot of horrible things, but I know for a fact that we influenced Germany in its fascist ways before we were like, oh, we're better than that, and then we've proven that we're not. We're constantly just doing the same thing day in and day out.
It is. It really is. And the fact that everybody wants to sit here and be like, well, the real problem is the, 1,500 trans athletes nationwide, if it's even that much. Like,
Last last I checked, there's only like 30.
Yeah, I went with a big number that would still
Yeah.
be small.
Even with the number that you threw out, that's like a fraction
It's
of
a
how many
tiny,
people. Yeah.
tiny percentage of the total U.S. athletes.
I think that's a whole nother issue there is like our mental capacity to like remember things is getting shorter because we are stressed out, anxious, and we are being force fed um, dopamine from our social media. And I mean, there are ways to go ahead and fight back against that, but we have to educate ourselves on like, don't just sit there for an hour just going like this with your
Yep.
thumbs. Do 5 to 10 minutes and then walk away from it.
There was a study on this that I saw just recently about the ability of adults to hold their attention, and not necessarily ADHD, but just from environmental training.
Yeah.
Like it's we're diagnosing a lot of people with ADHD and adult ADHD, and I'm sure that for many of them it is absolutely true. But there is going to be a large percentage of people who feel the symptoms of ADHD while still but not the medical side of it, but it's just the environment,
Mm-hmm.
getting slammed with messaging constantly all day long. Like, I went to school for marketing. It was something like, and that was a long time ago. And there was something at that point, it was something like 2 million messages a day that you don't even realize you're getting, especially if you like
Yeah.
live in a city. If you live in a city and you take the train, the amount of messaging that you're getting just on your way to work is in the hundreds of thousands. You don't even realize how many signs, how many logos, how many things you're seeing. It's somebody's shirt, it's a poster on the wall, it's the plane with the little trail in the sky, whatever, it's like you don't even realize how much you're getting. And that's not the technology, society, our environment has not evolved at the same pace as our meat suits.
Yeah.
And we're not keeping up.
We aren't. And at this rate in time, with us letting corporations such as Facebook and Twitter, I will not call it X. I will not call it X. Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, all those places, integrating AI so that they can go ahead and like I know that you mentioned it earlier, but we didn't really dive into AI being integrated into all these different tech corporations to go ahead and remove workers. And they may not be removing workers now, but they will in the future. Once AI gets to the point where they can remove you, we are watching as like the AI is starting to hit you with new ads that are coming out and being more realistic. My favorite one right now, there's one that pops up when I'm watching YouTube that's like, I started the salt diet, and you can see like the mouth does not match at all. And I'm like, boy, we are in for a hurting if we don't go ahead and do something to regulate these sorts of things.
That little by little they won't need us. And I have been thinking about that a lot, and sort of, if I was ever going to come up with my own conspiracy theory, it would be that the planet as a whole would be a lot nicer with 1,000 billionaires and maybe 100 million humans. They could run the planet a whole lot nicer, where everybody lived in utopia if they just kept the number of humans they need to run their resorts. And seriously, think about it. They don't, if you get to a certain point, you have enough infrastructure. We have the beautiful things built to exist. We have the energy resources. If all of the wealthiest humans on the entire planet got together, what do they need 8 billion other people for?
Yeah, I could see it. Do you watch Black Mirror?
Yes.
I don't remember. I don't remember if Black Mirror did an episode on it. It was either Black Mirror or it was Death,
Death, Love,
Love,
and
and
Robots.
Robots. Yeah, I don't remember which one it was, but one of them did something about like, oh, the world, like humans' world ended, and the rich came over to their like super yachts with their slave, their slaves, and they died because they didn't have the infrastructure, they didn't have the setup, And I could see it because we're watching this, like Elon's like, oh, we're going to go to Mars. We're going to go to Mars. That's his tactic to go ahead and get money. We're going to go to Mars. We're going to do this. We're going to settle that. And they're not going to, because they need to live here on the planet, because they don't have anything set up to go ahead and move out to another world. It'll take millennia to go ahead and terraform Mars.
But they don't
And
need 8 billion people.
they don't. Once they have everything set up, it doesn't matter. Once everything is set up and they have clean water and food that doesn't end, and everything is taken care of because an AI runs Facebook and Twitter and social media and is able to go ahead and keep bringing in money, because I know that they're not going to stop wanting to have money for whatever reason. It'll be a race to see who can get to trillion, and then
It won't be
trillion
though.
trillion.
It'll be, money will become nothing. When you don't have the people, then you don't have the need for the economy. You don't need to earn money because you have a perfect life. Royalty didn't need to earn money. They just took it because they were paying labor. But if we slimmed everything down, now I could see the wealthiest humans moving towards a healthy and thriving interracial slave trade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they won't discriminate. Anybody can be a slave. You just have to be poor.
I could see that, actually. Yeah. That's depressing.
I know. I'm sorry.
No. You were fine. So here's the thing. Personally, I think that a lot of Americans need to sit in that feeling of realization that the billionaires are not your friends, and that they are going for the most depressing outcome they possibly can.
Yep.
Elon doesn't care about any of us. He fucking doesn't care. And he is more than willing to cut the throats of anyone that's near him if it meant that he got enough money to do the next thing.
Yep.
And
we join the Labor Party
like
and we try to stop him.
Yeah.
And them and all the rest of the thems. I would love to, I would love to see the military step up and arrest the entire administration right now. I really would. I would be okay with that. I would say, let's do a whole big shakeup. I would love to see like a 60-day election cycle where arresting the entire administration of the United States, get your ish together. We would have a chance. The Labor Party would have a chance if they did a snap election because we had no government.
Yeah.
I would love
that. Well, and that's a whole nother thing. So funny enough, 2026, I believe, is whenever whenever Congress is up for election, and people should start going ahead and, like, even if you don't have any experience, you should throw your name in. If anyone who's listening to this, if you feel that you can do it, throw your name in and force Congress to start running campaigns.
Yeah.
Okay. At the very least, we all need to be doing that, and just like, God, if we could get them to panic.
I don't want them to panic. I just want them to be arrested.
I do too.
I don't.
But
I think panicking will lead to worse. Panicking will lead to martial law. Panicking will lead to other things.
So I'm not talking like panicking like in the day to day. I'm talking like panicking about like them not like having to struggle to go ahead and keep their seat. But
the Republicans right now, the MAGA Republicans right now, I hate to even insult Republicans by calling all of them the one thing.
No, that's fair.
I can see them banding together and pulling some shenanigans, like actually limiting habeas corpus, like implementing martial law, like creating, in national black ops, that is scooping up, people who say F the Cheeto on Instagram or Facebook. Like, I could see that the panic go, well, I'm going to lose my seat and these loony lefties are going to take over. We have to do something. We can't let them vote. We have to shut down the vote because we're going to lose our seats. We're going to lose control. I could see that. I would prefer not to see. I would just want to see every one of them arrested. Everyone who has spoken against or who has moved this administration to act against the Constitution.
Yeah.
I hate to do this, Uncle Ringo, but I do need to.
Yeah, no, No, you're good. You're good. I completely understand. And we will do this again so that we can continue this conversation. And honestly, I think that this was extremely productive. I think that for anyone that listens to this, if you feel that you need something to do, go to votelabor.org,
Mhm.
join the Discord. We have positions. We are trying to get people into political positions, not parties, political positions to progress the Overton window more to the left. And you could talk to, us and
We do need
share ideas.
support. We do need more
We do.
hours. We do need more manpower. We do need more brain power. It's still a pretty small team. So if you are interested in the Labor Party, please do come hang out with us. Discord
Yeah.
is really scary at first. I was terrified. What do you mean the Discord? What is that? But once you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty efficient. So
Mhm.
be intimidated. No, you can do it.
Yes. But with that, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. Have a good one, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.